Hey guys, since we aren't having youth group tonight, I figured, you know what, I'll record a little Devo, just a little video, and I'll post it so you guys can see it. So I hope you guys get to take a look at this. It's a new year. It's 2013. And I feel like at the beginning of every year we have to ask ourselves a question, especially this year. And that question is, who are we going to be? Who are you going to be this year in 2013? 1 Timothy 4:16 says, keep a close watch on all you do and think. Stay true to what is right, and God will bless you and use you to help others. See, God is looking for people He can use. So if we'll just get usable, then God's going to do some pretty amazing things. Do you want to be a person that God is going to use? You have to answer that. Are you going to be a person that God is going to use? Are you willing to follow God's lead? It's scary. It really is. It's scary. It's probably the scariest thing you're ever going to do. You're going to get made fun of. If you are truly like Jesus, then you're going to get made fun of. You're going to get criticized. Sometimes you might feel a little inadequate. There's going to be a lot of change, a lot of stuff going on. But I feel like there are some things that we can do to help us that's going to push us to be that type of person. And the first thing you have to do is you have to desire it. You have to desire to be that kind of person. You have to desire God's will for your life. You've got to want to do His will more than anything else, okay? You've got to say, you know what, I want God's plan for my life. That's what I want. I know you've heard it said many times that God has a specific, a custom plan for your life. And that's true. But it doesn't just happen automatically. It's not just forced on you. It's kind of like the story of Mary in Luke. You guys know this story. We just passed the Christmas season, and so you know this. God comes to Mary and He says, "Listen, I'm gonna have a son through you. Okay, you're gonna be the mother of my son, and he's gonna be God, and he's gonna rule on this earth forever and ever." Now, I mean, this is just crazy. This is nuts. And you can imagine Mary being this young teenage girl, a lot of things going through her mind, but what she didn't say was, you know what, God, you need to find somebody else. Sorry. She didn't say, you know what, this just doesn't fit into my plans. This doesn't fit into my goals and my ambitions. You know, this is inconvenient for me. She didn't say that. No way. She didn't say, God, you know what, you need to get somebody else. She desired God's will. She said, you know what, if this is what you want, then I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part of that. She was excited about it. She wanted it, and she was humble. She knew what was going to be happening. Let me ask this. What do you desire most out of life? What is it that you desire most? Think about that. Is it money? Fame? Relationships, popularity, success, true love? Matthew 6:33 says, "Seek first His kingdom and His righteousness, and all these other things will be added unto you." But it starts with desire. This year, if you're going to be somebody that God truly uses, then you're going to have to desire His will. That's what you're going to have to want. But you have to be really willing to sacrifice. You got to be ready to sacrifice. There's always a cost in following God's plan for your life, okay? You have to understand that. It's always going to cost you something. If you were to say right now, you know what, God, I want to give you more of me. I want to be closer to you. I want to be more in your will, in your plan, in your center, then it's going to cost you. So let me ask this. What are you willing to sacrifice to get what you want, to get what you desire? Are you willing to sacrifice the money, the fame, the relationships, the popularity, the success, the love? Or are you willing to sacrifice your relationship with Jesus to get what you want? Mary decided that she wanted God's will most of all. She decided to take that chance, to take that risk, to pay the cost. She was willing to do that. I mean, she had a lot to lose. A lot to lose. Her friends, her family, her comfort, her reputation. I mean, can you guys imagine the things that she had to go through while having this baby? I mean, everybody knows she's pregnant, and yet she's saying she's still a virgin. That doesn't make sense. And she's telling people that this baby is God's baby. I mean, if you heard somebody saying that, you'd probably think they were crazy. That's what happened. And she sacrificed so much. And you're going to have to too. If you're going to be the type of person that God can use, you are going to have to say, it's going to cost you quite a bit. There's a lot to lose. But Mark 8:36 says, but what do you benefit if you gain the whole world, but you lose your soul? Guys, you have to understand that God's purpose for your life includes some problems. God's plan for your life includes some problems. It's not accidental. It's all part of the plan. It's part of the cost. There's always a cost. And Jesus promises us that there's a cost. He says in Luke 9:23, whoever wants to be my disciple must deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. Now, what does that mean? Well, what does it mean to take up your cross? How would these people have understood it when Jesus said it? I mean, what was a cross used for? To kill people, right? Jesus is saying, you know what? If you want to follow me, you've got to die. You have got to die. What are you willing to give up in order to be used by God? Are you willing to give up your life? God is asking you to give that up. He's asking you to give up your life, your habits, some of your relationships, your friendships that are pulling you down instead of building you up. He's asking you to set aside your beliefs, your family's beliefs maybe, your dreams, your ambitions, your goals, your plans. He's asking you to set those aside for what He has made you to be. Are you willing to do that? In 2013, what are you willing to give up in order to be who God has made you to be? You've got to desire God's will more than anything else. You've got to be willing to sacrifice. And you've got to trust God. You've got to trust God. It takes courage to be used by God, okay? And the courage doesn't mean that you're not afraid. That's not what that means at all. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving ahead in spite of fear. It's moving ahead because you're afraid. It's facing your fear. Another word for courage is faith. It's having faith. Mary had deep, deep faith, okay? She didn't have all the answers, but she knew who did, and she trusted Him. You've got to have faith that God is going to work in your life. You have to trust Him. I mean, God can handle anything. Jesus tells us what is impossible with men is possible with God. It's going to be scary, though. But God says in Isaiah 41:10, do not be afraid, I am with you. Don't be discouraged, I am your God. I will strengthen you, I will help you, I will hold you up with my victorious right hand. He says in Deuteronomy 31:6, be strong and courageous, do not be afraid, and do not panic before them. For the Lord your God will personally go ahead of you. He will neither fail you nor abandon you. And some of you might think, you know what, I'm like 15, okay? I'm in junior high, I'm early high school, I don't have very many talents or abilities. Like, this is ridiculous. I'm awkward, I'm weird. I can't do anything major. And that's when we hear from Christ, from the lips of Paul's mouth, don't let anybody think less of you because you're young. That's pointless. That's not a factor. That doesn't matter. Instead, be an example to everyone in what you say, in the way that you live, in the way that you love people, your faith, and in your purity. That's how you impact people's lives. Guys, God's powerful, okay? God is powerful. And He uses people who desire to do His will, who decide to pay the cost, and who dare to trust Him. Do you trust Him? God wants you to come alongside of Him through this, okay? 1 Timothy 6:12 says, "Fight the good fight for the true faith. Hold tightly to the eternal life for which God has called you to, which you have confessed so well before many witnesses." Fight the good fight. Stand alongside God and take this on. If God can take a teenage girl, a poor peasant teenager with no education, and He chooses her to be the mother of Jesus Christ, don't you think that He could use you to do some pretty amazing things? Finally, God says this. In Isaiah 43:18 through 19, He says, "Forget all of that. It's nothing compared to what I'm going to do. For I am about to do something new. See, I've already begun. Do you not see it? I will make a pathway through the wilderness. I will create rivers in dry wastelands." Forget all that, He says. Forget all that. What does that even mean? What's God talking about here? See, the Israelites, during this time, they'd been thinking about all this garbage that had been going on in their life. There was a lot of it. There was a lot of garbage. Life was not going well for them. But that's not what God is telling them to forget. He's not saying, you know what, forget all the bad stuff. Forget all the negative things that happened last year. That's not what He's saying. God's saying, you know what? Forget all that amazingness that I've already done. Conquering kings, splitting seas, rescuing them over and over again. See, God's saying, you remember all that? You remember all those great things I did for you? Forget those things. Forget about all that. That is nothing in comparison to what I'm going to do next. What happened in 2012 is nothing compared to what God is going to do in 2013, guys. If we are faithful, God is going to do incredible, amazing, magnificent things, I promise. But are you willing to be used by God? Whatever that looks like. Do you desire His will? Are you willing to sacrifice to be that kind of person? Are you willing to put all of your trust in a God who specializes in the miraculous? I sure hope so. I love you guys. See you Sunday.